Hey guys, Mark Lyon here at Lion Horses Today. I got some tips for you on different kinds of reins and maybe what suits you best and just kind of how they're used. So we've got, if you think of reins, they are the lines of communication between you and your horse. So one end we're going to say is the speaker, that's the bit, that's the, or the head stall, or the, maybe the hackamore, whatever you have on your horse that's going to move when you pick up on the reins and move the reins. That's the speaker, so that's what he's hearing. The other side, your hands, that's what imparts that signal. And then the reins, they carry that signal from your hands to his mouth. So in the grand scheme of things, they're probably not quite as important as either end. Like I would say your hands are the most important part of the equation. The bit's probably the next most important part of the equation, and the reins are probably third. But they're still an important part. So we're going to talk about different kinds. So this is what you've probably seen. These are split reins here. And they're just two pieces of leather. They can be weighted. A lot of times they'll be weighted on the ends a little bit to kind of give you a little bit more balance. You can attach them with clips or water loops. They call these little water loops here. And that's a general, probably the most common set of reins you're going to see is the split reins. Personally, I'm not a big fan. I've used them quite a bit, and I'm pretty comfortable with them. But if I have a choice, I'm going to use something else. I kind of like a couple other choices. But anyway, they're good. They're really good. Okay, the next one. These are rope reins, and these are Makati reins, and they are a continuous piece of rope. So it starts on this side, goes around, ties into this side, and then you have a little bit of a lead rope. And so basically, it's a continuous rein that you can use. And with the Makati setup, you want to have it so that it's quite a bit of there's quite a bit of slack in the middle. We're going to talk about a couple other kinds of continuous reins. And the same thing with the split reins. You can have them leather or rope or, lots of different kinds of reins, the material. The Makati's one continuous piece of rope. Then we have the Rommel, Reins and Rommel. So this is the Reins and Rommel, and it has, some people call them Rommel reins, or let's say Rommels. And they are the reins, which is this part. These are braided rawhide, and I really like these. And then this is the Rommel part. This is the tail, and it kind of gives some balance to the rein, so when you use it, you kind of use these as a little bit of a counterweight to counteract the other end of the weight there. And they also can be made of several different things. There's some nylon ones. I've actually got a set here that's just the reins. Doesn't have the Rommel in, and it's just a piece of rope with a little connectors on the end. A lot of times I'll use this if it's wet out or something like that. Those rawhide, they don't like the rain and they don't like the moisture, so the rope one's kind of a general use if I'm just kind of, it's getting wet and nasty outside and I don't want to ruin my good ones. The next set is, this is a continuous rein. This is a piece of biothane, or pleather as it's sometimes called, and it's got some buckles on the end. And this one I made, and it's a little bit longer. You can kind of use it as a little bit of a Rommel, just a little bit fancier maybe than the rope. If you're just doing something where you need to use your other hand, you need a set that you can use with one hand. This is what the other one. This is kind of the barrel reins, or rope, or something called roper reins, and they're just a piece of leather. Normally they've got some sort of grippy stuff in the middle, and then they've got some buckles, and you can adjust these so you can make them shorter or longer. Now these work really good if the barrel racers use them, team ropers use them. The only thing I have against these is normally they're not long enough for you to put your hand down and the horse still get a long release. It's hard for him to put his head down. And so for trail riding and stuff like that, if you're going to have your horse bridled up and be doing something, or you're going to be actively doing it, actively riding with some contact, they work pretty good. Going for a trail ride in those kind of reins, it doesn't really let the horse relax and stick his head down and still get a good release. So, like I say, really good for like the barrel race and roping kind of deal, but for trail riding, not as easy. But anyway, those are the kind of types of reins. When you Each one of them has a little bit different technique for getting short and lengthening and adjusting one side or the other. Of course, the reins, the Rommels, they you don't have to adjust the left and the right side because you're going to be using one hand, and the horse is going to be, you know, good on the neck rein, and you won't have to worry about the indirect and direct rein. The split reins and the rope reins, those are ones that a lot of times you use them on a snaffle bit, and so you'll want to be able to tip the nose one way or the other. So just some different characteristics that each material has. The leather ones feel a little bit different. The rope ones also have a little bit different body, and different types of rope has different a different feel, a different body. Like these, this is the tree line. This is the one I use for lead ropes and stuff, and I like it. There's softer ropes, firmer ropes. So find one that fits good for you and your style of riding. But anyway, just some ideas on different kinds of reins and what maybe will work good for you. Try a few. If you're at a clinic, feel free to borrow one of mine. I've always got a few of each one, so you guys can try it. And before you go buy some of those, that stuff's kind of expensive, so if you can try it first and learn how to use it. So anyway, remember, we're all trying to be the person our horse deserves, and hope this tip helps.